Shapiro calling. I'm here. I'm standing here. I'm not calling. I'm live from traffic services in this Toronto Police Division. It is the 9th of February, and that intro did not go as planned. But you know what? We're still going forward. We're doing our thing. We are here answering your traffic and police questions live from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. We do it Monday to Friday, although we won't be doing it this Friday because I will not be here. So today it's Monday to Thursday. And next week I'm on vacation, so we're not going to have a regularly scheduled program next week either. So you're getting in on the last couple of lives for a week, but we'll be back soon. What can I tell you? Lots of stuff happening in the city today. First of all, let's talk about Vision Zero. Vision Zero enforcement team. That's that group of officers that go out and they try and change driver behavior, and they do it in the nicest of ways. That's by issuing tickets. I'm joking, of course. They issue tickets to drivers who are putting others at risk. They are performing a choice to drive in a way that leads to serious injury and death, more often than not. At least those are the most popular choices. Boy, this is going downhill. Okay, one of those things. That's the speeding, aggressive driving, distracted driving, and impaired driving. Those are the behaviors most often that lead to serious injury and death on our roads, and of course we want to eliminate that. We talk about Vision Zero often. Vision Zero says that we understand that minor collisions are going to happen, but the ones that lead to serious injury and death on our roads are both preventable and unacceptable. So that is that. Where are they today? Well, they're in 55 and 32 divisions. Where is that, you say? Well, there's a couple of communities that stand out. Riverdale, the Beaches, Danforth, East York, O'Connor Parkview area, Newtonbrook, Willowdale, York University area. Those are the neighborhoods, and there's more than that, but I don't want to list the entire area. It's just, there's a lot of different neighborhoods. Neighborhoods are very complicated. What's going on? Sergeant Kraft, hello, good morning. Things to talk about. Well, of course, we're going to talk about the fact that you may have questions for me. And if that's the case, make sure you use the Q&A feature. If you're on Instagram Live or you're on TikTok, use that question mark in the bubble, and then I will see it. If you are not using the bubble, it's going to be in chat. If you ask in chat, you'll be answered in chat, but it won't be by me. It'll be by moderators, my magical team of friends who are not police officers. They're not paid members of the service. They are volunteering their time to help answer your questions and, keep it classy. So please don't spam the chat. Please treat them kindly because they are just like you, members of the community who are here watching the show and have become part of the fabric of the show. And we've got Brent Perry coming in. Good morning. Sean Chen with an hola. Sergeant Kraft. We got him here. Kayla Draconis, who says, you will miss me. But I'm not going anywhere really that far, and I'll still be posting content while I'm away. And when I'm away really means I'm going to be on my couch. Yeah, I'm going to be relaxing for a week, which means I'll probably be doing some broadcasting too, but we'll see what happens. I'm not making a commitment to that while I'm on vacation, because apparently I need to be on vacation when I'm on vacation. My wife told me so. Okay. Questions or Q&A coming in on the TikTok channel. We got Will, who says good morning and happy Wednesday. And here's a great segue into something I wanted to talk about. Question coming in from Eagle One. License plate stickers gone. How do we know legal? Now, now I don't know where you're going with this. Are you saying that your license plate sticker was stolen? or are you talking about the news about changes to license plate, potential changes? Because nothing's happened yet. This is discussion from the Ontario government that was, I guess, got to news, and they're reporting that there might be a plan to change the license plate situation that would no longer require stickers to be affixed to the plate, I guess, because there's cost in manufacturing those stickers and so on, so it could be a savings. I don't know what the rules are with that because it's not a rule yet. Right now, if you have a license plate sticker or if you have a license plate, it must be validated. It must be displaying a sticker. Now, that is, many are covered under an extension up until February 28th of this month. So February 28th being, we're in February, and the 28th of this month, of this year, which is only a few days away. So if you don't have a validation sticker that is current, make sure that you have one. If they do not make an announcement saying that you're good to go, you got to have one by March 1st, otherwise you could be ticketed. Things take time to change in law, so changes to this may not happen immediately. We'll be waiting, and of course we'll share any news that we get once we get it. But again, nothing has changed as of this moment. You are required to have a license plate validation sticker once February 28th rolls around. Now, of course, if your license plate sticker expired prior to March 2020, then you're actually not covered under the extension that was provided for COVID, and you are eligible for a ticket right now. Okay. Let's Let's take another question. Let's keep going through. Folks that are trying to jump onto the live to be a guest, to share the screen, just know that we don't actually do that. If we don't know who you are, we don't bring you on screen. But I appreciate all the invites and asking me to co-host with them. Angela, hello, Q and Sean. Nice to see you both. It's good to see you. We haven't seen you in a while. Hope all is well. We have questions. So just to get out of the way, people who are asking about political things in terms of protests and truckers, I don't address that stuff on this live. This is about general police stuff. And of course, our focus is traffic because we are the Toronto Police Traffic Services Unit. And let me reintroduce myself because we've got a whole bunch more people in the room right now. My name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a police constable here at Traffic Services. I work in the Traffic Safety Programs Office, and education is part of what I do. This is education. We're broadcasting on a number of platforms. So what platforms are those? Well, wherever you're watching is one of them. We're also on Instagram Live, TikTok. We're on YouTube, Twitch, LinkedIn. We're on Twitter, Facebook, and we're basically everywhere that we need to be. If you think we should be somewhere else, let us know. And if you'd be so kind, regardless of what platform you're using, please share this live with your friends and family. Share it with people that you think might benefit from this. And essentially, we're here for you to do nothing but educate and help you get the information that you need. If you got questions, throw it in the Q&A. We will try and get to everybody. We are here right until 10 o'clock. Sometimes we go over by a couple of minutes, but it's 10 o'clock's the goal to shut down the stream and move on to the other things that involve our day. Okay. Question coming in on Instagram Live. Does Toronto Police have motorcycles as police vehicles? Absolutely we do. And I used to be a member of the Motor Squad. We have a fleet of Harley-Davidson motorcycles and qualified operators to ride those. And I think it's the best way to be a police officer on a motorcycle. It's the most comfortable, at least for me. I don't like being cooped up in a car if I can avoid it. But motorcycles are also related to how I ended up doing the job that I'm doing today because I was involved in a motorcycle collision on duty. And I'm not currently cleared to go on the road due to my injuries. So I am coming to you on TikTok and Instagram and social media as a result. Funny how that works out. I got here by accident. Okay, going into back into the Q&A. What happens? Let's see here. I don't know what that question means. Okay. How do I make a dirt bike street legal? Well, first of all, you have to have lights, signals, horns, all the requirements for safety, and you need to get it safetied for the street by a mechanic. It has to be, obviously, has to have a VIN number. It has to be now safe for the road, and it's not something that I can't give you all the list because I don't know what the entire list is. Take it to a mechanic and ask them to give you that list. Converting a dirt bike, there may be some that can't be converted based on suspension travel and things like that, but that's above my realm of dirt bike understanding. I'm not an off-road bike guy. I am, however, an on-road bike guy. Okay. How much qualified immunity do Canadian police get? Well, qualified immunity is an American term, so I don't know how that would translate here. We're responsible for everything we do, whether it be obviously if it's legal, we're responsible for it, and if we go into something that's illegal, we're also responsible criminally. So we're a very heavily monitored profession. Let's see here. Can I drive 10 kilometers over the speed limit on the highway? Legally, no. You can't. You're not allowed to exceed the speed limit at all. That means you can't go 1 over the speed limit. Technically, you are breaking the law. The charge is speeding. It doesn't say, the fact that you're speeding 1 or 20 or 100 over, you're still speeding. The number of how many kilometers just goes to how much money you'll have to spend if you get a ticket. So, based on each kilometer, there is a number of dollars that are associated with each kilometer, and then additionally, there's a number of points associated with when you're within thresholds. Now, under 16 kilometers an hour, there's no demerit points, but you're still speeding and your insurance will still go up. Okay. Do we have, what is this? Why do we have to wait 1 year in between G1 and G2? Well, the whole concept of graduated licensing is to give you an opportunity to actually get experience. Just because you can pass a test doesn't mean you're a good driver. Experience is one of the things you need. Time is the only way to get that. So you have to wait between a G1 and a G2 1 year, and that goal is to, again, get experience, get training. Now, it's only 8 months if you get a qualified course under your belt. That's like using a company like Young Drivers or any approved course program through a driving school. Once you get your G2, you have to wait another year before you can write for a G. Okay, same reason applies, so you can get experience. Okay. Let's see here. Do motorcycles get temporary stickers? Do you mean the 10-day plate permits? I imagine that they would qualify for them, but I don't know if those are. I've actually never seen a motorcycle with a temporary sticker that I'm aware of. I just don't remember. So I don't know if those qualify for one, but check with the MTO if you need to move your bike and you don't have a current. I don't know. Q wants to know. If you have a motorcycle that doesn't qualify for safety, or you have questions as to whether or not it is fit for the road, get it towed. It's probably a good idea. And that was a suggestion from Q, and I agree, because if there's mechanical issues with it, it hasn't been safe or safetied, then that could have some not so good consequences if things go wrong on the road. Can I use a walkie-talkie while driving? The answer is no, you can't. It's a handheld communication device. Walkie-talkies are the same as using a cell phone. It is capable of sending and receiving information, and you can't hold it. Now, if you had a push-to-talk with a single button press from a headset, sure you could, but not a walkie-talkie, not a handheld. The only people who can use push-to-talk or use a handheld microphone or communication device are police, fire, ambulance, and those who have certain exemptions. For instance, if you're a ham radio operator, an amateur radio operator, you have a license for it, they are exempt under that for the purposes of using their radios. My favorite question of all time, what is the legal limit for window tint? It's not my favorite question. It just happens to be the most frequently asked question, and that's okay. So 30% light blockage is the legal limit for the windows directly left and right of the driver. The windows to the rear can be as dark as you want, as long as you have a window or at least a mirror to the rear that provides you a view of the rear of the vehicle or out the rear. And you can have nothing on the front windshield, save and except for vehicles that were manufactured before 2017. They can have a 3-inch or 75 millimeter, which is the same thing, tint strip or brow across the top of the windshield. That's 3 inches, or it's the PS1 line, whatever happens first. That is all. Otherwise, nothing on the front windshield. And we see people who still do this, and of course, those are unsafe vehicles. You can't have that. If you tint your front windshield, or if your driver and front passenger window are too dark, that could not only get you tickets for obscuring the driver's view through those particular windows, you could also make your vehicle unsafe and have your plates pulled, where you'd have to go get safetied again and obviously remove the tint to get it safetied. Additionally, you can also be charged for obscuring the interior of your vehicle. Now, that can happen with tint that is less than 30%. If we can't see in, it's against the law. If you, and that's not just for police to see in, that's for anyone to see in, because you need to be able to see the driver. There's nonverbal communication for pedestrian safety, for other drivers on the road, their safety. At the end of the day, you need to be able to see in. Also, reflective tint on the driver's windows, front driver and front passenger windows, cannot be reflective tint. The rear windows, I don't believe, are going to be covered by that, but you can't obscure the interior with color or reflective. And color doesn't, gray for the purposes of tint is going to be a color. Okay. We have questions. We need water. What's going on, Q?
Can officers pull you over without reason, in quotations?
I love the question. It's another common question. There are always reasons to pull someone over. In Ontario, we can pull you over to check the status of your license, to check the status of your insurance, to check the status of your sobriety. So those are 3 reasons that are constantly on the table. So you can always be pulled over in Ontario. You don't need to run a stop sign, fail to signal, or break a law that you're aware of. Just checking in on the status of those items is legal justification to pull you over. Okay. Can you legally give out tickets for honking? Yeah, there's unnecessary noise under the HTA, which means that if you are honking and there's no reason for it, you just want to make noise, it's unnecessary noise. Same offense for turning your stereo up too loud or revving your engine or squealing your tires. All of those things are HTA offenses that are always been in effect and nothing new. Okay. Dun, dun, dun. Is there a weight recommendation to become an officer? No. You need to be fit. You need to be able to pass the physical testing. Whether you are skinny or thick, it is up to you to be what's healthy, as long as you can pass the actual test. That's all that matters. Obviously, healthy is better than unhealthy, and generally, but there's no requirement. Can you use headphones while driving? Another good question that comes up on occasion. Yes, you can. In Ontario, you can wear headphones while driving. Do I think it's the best choice? No, I don't. But it is not against the law. In fact, hearing is not a requirement to drive. You can be hearing impaired and still drive a motor vehicle. So I suppose that is the justification for being able to wear headphones. Other provinces do have laws against it. Some say you can wear one headphone, like a Bluetooth headset, but not both earpieces. And there's good reason for that. Like, I think that I should hear what's going on around, but I also don't play my stereo overly loudly, maybe because I'm old, and secondly, because I want to hear what's going on around me. I like those cues, I like to hear when some screeching tires are coming so I can, be my attention drawn to what's going on. Okay.
Not me thinking that you were yelling at me.
Not at all. How can you test how dark your tint is? Also, how will officers test darkness? Well, a mechanic, when issuing a safety certificate, has a tint meter. It's a requirement. When they get inspected, they have to show that they have the device to measure. That's the thing that slips over both sides and measures the exact amount of light that's passing through. When it comes to police officers laying the charge, that is not required. We are not laying the charge for what percentage you have of light. We are laying the charge as to whether or not your windows are obscuring your ability to see out for safety, and likewise, if we cannot see you, or if it is too dark to and prevents us from seeing the interior of your vehicle. It's not a machine that's testing it. It's our ability to see and our testimony to that effect. So what's a good test? Throw your driver's license on one side of the window. If you can't see it on the other side, that's too dark. So it's a really good measure of how dark your tint is and whether or not you're going to get a ticket or eligible for a ticket. Okay. If you were on speaker on the phone, are you asking if you can get a ticket? If you're holding the phone on speaker, you can be charged for the distracted driving law for using your handheld communication device. If it's in a holder, if it's in a mount and you're on speakerphone, that's legal. You just can't use your phone while you're driving. You can have it active. You can use voice commands. You just can't touch it or play with the screen or send an email to mom, regardless of whether or not it's mounted. You can't use it at a stoplight. You can't use it unless you're legally parked. Yeah, that's the deal. What is this? Is it legal? Is it legal for a principal to search your phone? No, they've got absolutely no right to your information. Now, if they ask you and you say, here you go, then sure. But they have no legal authority to search anything that's yours. They can't search your person. They can't search your property. They can call the police, and the police have authorities in certain situations. And certainly they can expel you for doing things because that's something they can do. But that's a different situation. Search to your vehicle or search to your property. Now, their locker is their locker. They probably have the right to search that, but they can't go through your stuff, not inside it. Okay, can a G license tow any length of trailer? No, there's a maximum length and a maximum weight that you can tow under a G license. And you can look that up under the driver's handbook, and I don't remember it. I know Q always throws it up on screen, although maybe she doesn't this time. But I can't remember what the length is right now. I got to put a Q card up. Q cards everywhere. Okay. So I don't have an answer as to what the length is. I just don't recall. Oh, hey, look at that. Length is 12.5 meters, including a 4.65 meter overhang, height up to 4.26 meters, and weight as per the Highway Traffic Act. There's a combined total weight as well. Also, the type of brakes that are used. Like there's a bunch of conditions. So I'm not going to give you a specific, go ahead and tow anything. You got to look it up and confirm that your license covers it. And I don't have the... Oh, wait, here we go. You must have a valid driver's license, G1, G2, G, or have a higher class of license to tow a trailer with a gross vehicle weight of up to 4,600 kilograms. So the total gross, Q, is that for the total combination, 4,600 kilos? Okay. Up to 4,600 kilos total. Yeah, that's one that I no matter how many times I talk about it, I can't remember it. Okay, let's see what's going on. Coming in from Alan. Okay. Alan doesn't have Twitter. That's okay. A lot of people don't have Twitter anymore. Is Twitter a valuable, platform? Every platform has value, but which one's the best? Which one do you think is the best? Let me know in the chat. I want to know what you think is the best platform. Obviously, the people coming in from Twitch probably think Twitch is the best. Tint says, I noticed school buses windows in the St. Jerome LaFontaine have tinted dark windows. Really? The windows in the back of a school bus don't necessarily have to regulate. It's the driver's side windows, the ones directly left and right of the driver. Tinting the back isn't an issue. That's probably for solar load because the school buses don't necessarily have air conditioning, and if they do, it's probably not very effective. Okay. Hey, Ryan Pinn's coming in late and apologizing for it. You are watching that's the season finale of Book of Boba Fett. I'm not ready for a finale. I just watched the end of Reacher, and I'm sad that there's no episode to watch tonight. Okay, yeah, that's a good show. It was pretty cool. Okay, Sean Chen, if you're using school assets like school Wi-Fi, they probably can see a lot of your stuff already. Yeah, I don't know. That's information technology stuff, and it's well beyond my my qualifications to comment on. Okay, let's see what else is going on. What's going on here? Are tow trucks allowed to follow emergency vehicles through traffic to get to an accident? They don't have an authority specific to that. If they are, if they've spoken to the officer and the officer says follow me, that's different. But having a blanket authority to follow police through traffic cleared through their equipment, no, they don't. Okay. Oh, okay. Question coming in says, I'm sorry to hear about you're talking about my injury, but it's a blessing in disguise because you enjoy these streams. Well, thank you very much. Yeah, so the deal is I was traveling back to the station. A car pulled out of a parking lot, and we met in the middle. I went for a short flight. The takeoff wasn't bad. The landing sucked, and as a result, I had a number of injuries, but they are lingering. I would have never thought that I'd be still in a process where I'm trying to get better. But lots of fun. Listen, the cool thing is that the Toronto Police and many employers are fantastic at finding other ways to challenge and give you meaningful work, something that the Toronto Police is really good at, and I'm fortunate for. So I got involved with so many different things, and education became one of them. And here I am today. It's awesome. I'm really happy about it. Okay. Why aren't hyper-flash emergency brake lights legal here? Seems like a great safety feature and required in some parts of Europe. Well, I can't speak to what is legal elsewhere, but you're not allowed to have intermittent flashes of red light, things that could look like emergency vehicles. So they may be excellent, but for whatever reason, the powers that be have said no. That might change in the future, but as of right now, it's not allowed. Okay, we talked about sticker renewal, but there's another question about sticker renewal. As of right now, sticker renewal is still required. There is no change. There is merely a news report about what might happen in Ontario. It's not currently a thing. So you still need to actually renew. And anyone who is covered by the extension, which means that if you had an expiry of your license or your validation sticker that took place from March 1st onward, you're covered until February 28th, but no more. So come March 1st, you could get a ticket for having an expired validation sticker, or a license for that matter. Today is supposed to be a +3 day. We were -3 this morning when I drove to work, but they're supposed to be up to a high of +3. And the reason I bring this up is it means that there's going to be some melting snow. Not necessarily flooding, but some melting snow. And as a result, you might see some wet roads. Well, if we see a dip back down around 0 or below, you might see freezing again. Well, that thin layer of water will turn to a thin layer of ice, likely, and that could mean invisible ice. We want you to make sure that you are driving for the road conditions. Be aware of the fact that it may look good and it may be very slippery. So we want you to avoid collisions if you can. Just be aware of what's going on. Okay. What can we go here? What kind of dangerous situations are there for police? Every situation as a police officer is potentially dangerous. Everything we get into, every traffic stop, every call. Everything in our job has the potential for going sideways and becoming dangerous. Even just pulling over for a traffic stop. Not only do we have to worry about what's going on in the car and the person that we're dealing with, but also everything around us. We are stopping in traffic, and that is a hazardous portion of our job. Okay. Ryan wants to know about people. Ryan wants to know if we can talk about pushing their snow from the driveway onto the road. Is that a problem in Ontario? So first of all, he's from Nova Scotia, and that's why he's asking about qualifying questions. The deal is that depending on your municipality, there are charges available if you actually dump your snow from your driveway onto the road. And same thing goes for snowplow operators. If they're taking your snow and just moving it around and blocking roads, it's a problem. I recently, on my way to work, called into dispatch to say that someone had cleared their driveway with a plow and blocked the entire roadway on the eastbound lanes. Like you couldn't. It was 3 feet high of snow, and they left. It was obviously I drive at 4 a.m, so it's ridiculously early, and that could have caused a major collision. So there's reasons for laws. Okay. Q is your cue card. Absolutely, she is a great help. And but I have started making actual cue cards.
He's trying to replace me, guys.
with paper, but there's only so much here before I have to order more. And yeah. Let's see here. I'm making jokes that aren't jokes because they're not funny. Okay.
Yes, they are. I'm ha-haing.
You're ha-haing.
Someone wants to know if they can send you fan mail, sir.
Fan mail. You know what? I haven't talked about fan mail. Coming here and spending time with us is fan mail enough. Sharing our stuff is great, but you don't need to send me anything. I do appreciate it, the sentiment, but it probably isn't a good idea to send me stuff. I'm sure there's a rule somewhere. If you send me stuff, it's a problem, but I don't know. But certainly you don't need to do that. But I do appreciate the sentiment. Okay. Let's see what's going on here. Can you arrest someone for possession based on smell? You can investigate someone based on things. It depends on what you're smelling, but certainly that could lead to an investigation. And then it becomes what are we smelling? Burnt or fresh? And what are we talking about? Because marijuana at this point is legal. So what are we smelling? What are you talking about? Let's get more details. Are they throwing out tickets to catch up in court? I'm not aware of that. They may be dealing aggressively, and I'm speculating. I don't know, but certainly there's a backlog. Okay. Random. What's the prescription on my glasses? I haven't the foggiest. I don't know. It's just a minor touch up. I don't need a lot, but I do like having sharp vision. I did get readers recently, and these are not them. I did a couple of shows wearing my readers, and it was amazing having everything really big. But at the current distance, I'm good without switching to my readers. Yes, I'm getting old. This is the first time in my life I've had readers. Doesn't feel right. And what do you do with the other glasses? Like one goes over the head, and it's weird. I don't know how to deal with it. Let's see here. Thank you for your service. Love your hairstyle. Why, thank you. I do it myself. Okay. What is this? Newfoundland learners in Toronto. So you want to know if you can use your Newfoundland learner's driver's license while you're in Toronto. I'm assuming that's what you mean. So I don't know what your licensing is called, but the equivalent of a G1, which means you have to be supervised, that is not, what do you call it? It's not permitted to be used here. That's only for the province it's issued. Your G2 or the equivalent, where you can drive as a probationary driver alone, but with conditions, that can be used interprovincially and even in the United States. And a full G or a full equivalent of a G, that can be used anywhere, of course. Now, if you moved to Toronto, you're a student or you're staying here, you have an address here, you are here. Well, you're a resident, and at that point, you have 30 days to change your license from Toronto or from wherever you came from to an Ontario license. So there you go. If that wasn't what you were looking for, please rephrase your question so I can answer it more appropriately. Do school buses use stop sign at a four-way stop for loading or unloading passengers, or what do you mean? School buses have to stop at a four-way stop, obviously, but if they're loading or unloading passengers, they have to activate their equipment to ensure that they're not passed in either direction. It doesn't prevent students from going the other direction or cars from going the other direction. You just can't pass them. Okay. So I would assume that they shouldn't be using the intersection as a good place to stop. What should we do if we get doored? So if you're a pedestrian, you're a cyclist or a pedestrian, and you get doored, someone opens up the door, that's a call to police. You can get direction as to what happens next. There are, if you stay at the scene, that's something that will be investigated at scene. It is a collision when it comes to a cyclist, and which is different. It used to be just an event, but it's now considered a collision. So call police and get direction. That is it. Pedestrian, I've never heard of a pedestrian being doored. Obviously, there are charges for someone who drives. You got doored, Q? Okay, Q, tell me the story. Don't type it to me. Come on in and tell us a story about how you got doored.
I was walking by the sidewalk and the person opened the door onto me. So like facing opposite, I was walking the opposite way of traffic. And the person opened.
On the road or on the sidewalk?
So the passenger opened the door and
Okay.
onto the sidewalk onto me.
Assault by door.
Is that what it's called?
No, it's not. but they are responsible for opening a door in safety, and there is an offense for that. They could be charged. Obviously, they if they cause injury or damage, they're responsible for it. Yeah, it all depends. I mean, were you injured as a result of it, or was it just an event?
I mean, I didn't think there was anybody in the car, so it knocked me onto my
Oh,
bottom.
wow. Okay, so you fell. So if it resulted in injury, obviously it's more serious than if it just bumped into you. Even minor collisions between vehicles, if there's no damage and there's no injury, is that a collision? Well, according to the HDA, that's not a collision. That's just contact, and contact doesn't necessarily mean a report's necessary. It all depends at that point. So if you were injured, you could certainly call in and take steps and get direction from dispatch as to what happens next. But I've never heard of a pedestrian being doored. Yeah? Okay. Does Toronto Police have a traffic helicopter? No, we do not. We experimented with some a number of years ago, back when I first started with the service, boy, 2000, mid-2000, 2001, 2, something like that. I don't remember the exact year. We had a number of helicopters that we were testing, and they determined they didn't need their own. They could call, phone a friend when they need the assistance. So we basically have an agreement with neighboring agencies that have helicopters. If we need one, we call and they get them up in the air. I want to go back. I was in a helicopter once. It was very cool. Okay. What is this question? Can you drive someone else insurance with a G2? So, if you are a G2, you are licensed to operate vehicles covered under your license designation. There's a whole bunch of them. And you can operate a motor vehicle that's not owned by you, that is insured. Absolutely, you can do that. Now, if you live with the person that you're borrowing the car from, insurance companies often want you to be listed on the policy. What happens if you don't do that? Well, they may choose not to cover you in the event of a collision. So is it legal? Yeah, if we pull you over and you're driving a car and it's insured, it's legal, regardless of where you live. However, if you get into a collision, the insurance company may have an issue with you. So best to know exactly what you're getting into. Call the insurance company. If you're using mom or dad's or roommate's car, check with the insurance company. For the minor increase in insurance or to have you covered is probably a good idea to do. What happens if a ticket sits in court for a year? So my understanding and my experience has been that if you have a reasonable amount of time to be seen by court, you have a right to a speedy trial. And if you go beyond that, there are steps that you can take to move to have it thrown out. Now, that's under normal circumstances. The entire planet has not been normal for more than 2 years or approaching 2 years. So what does that mean? It means there's going to be exceptions. Just because it's more than a year, where normally might give you authority or the right to make application. I don't think that's the case. I'm not a lawyer. I can't give you legal advice, but I don't think that what would normally apply would still be in effect now. Of course, you need to talk to a lawyer or someone that can explain that to you officially, but that's my understanding, that there's going to be delays and they're going to be acceptable because the whole world is upside down. Okay. What is this? What about, I don't know what that is. Can you extend your G2 license with a second G2 test? It's like you know something. Yes. So generally speaking, you cannot renew a G2, but you can retest for it, from what I'm told. You'd have to possibly pay some fees, but that would be the way to extend it. But you do have an extension already. If your G2 expired, actually, if your M1, M2, G1, G2 expired after March 1st, 2020, or including March 1st, 2020, you're covered under an extension. That extension continues until December 31st, 2022, so the end of this year. But if you can't get everything done by the end of this year, then you can look in the other options. It might be that if you book a test beyond your expiry, you might be able to get it an extension beyond that, but you need to check with the Ministry of Transportation. I don't know the ins and outs. I did do some reading, and what you're saying sounds a lot like what I read, but I don't want you to say, Sean told me it's okay. You got to make sure. Okay. Bottom windshield sticker. So this is having banners or whatnot across the windshield. Here's the deal, and it's something that Sergeant Campbell said, and it makes total sense to me, and I've stuck to it ever since he told me. And that is, if you have any decals that interfere with the area of your windshield that is swept by your windshield wipers, that's obstructing your driver's vision. That is illegal. So no, you can't have it. Now, we're talking about stickers and the instrument that's applied for, certification for commercial motor vehicles, or your oil sticker, or, Pikachu, whatever you want to put there. If it's outside of the area swept by the area of the windshield wiper, outside of that, you're good. Okay. What is the question here? Why do you always try to find a reason to pull me over with a dealer plate? Yeah, there's probably a lot of reasons to pull people over, but usually we pull people over because they violated the law. Yeah, but what kind of charges are you getting? I'm actually curious now. What reasons are people being told, or why are you being pulled over? Was it speeding? Was it failing to signal? Let's hear it. I'd love to know. Officer Bawa, what's going on? I get to press the wavy button. There we go. Okay. Can I get a street overnight parking permit in areas like Scarborough? I don't know. I assume that there's opportunities for that. I don't do parking stuff. I think there are exceptions, special exceptions that you can call and explain that there's no, or ask for special consideration under certain circumstances. But you need to call parking enforcement in the city of Toronto, and that's a part of Toronto Police. You could also ask, actually, great opportunity, TPS. Or parking TPS. There's an Instagram account, there's a TikTok account, there's a Twitter account. Ask them, because that is managed by Erin Urquhart. She's TPS_Bikehart on all the platforms, and she is the best resource for parking enforcement questions. So that's the place to go. That's the place to go to get your answer when it comes to parking. Okay. Is there a main police station of Toronto? Let's see here. So we have headquarters, if you mean by main. 40 College Street is our headquarters, and but that's not a police. Is it a police station? So that's our administrative offices. We don't deploy out of there, but each division has is the main subsection, or the main unit for that area to cover it, because it doesn't make sense to have one building for the entire city. Yeah. So if that's what you mean. But check out our website, www.torontopolice.on.ca. Actually, you just brought something up, or triggered a memory. I've been talking to a listener or a viewer on LinkedIn who's been talking about the fact that they are going to school. They've gone back to school. They're security right now, but they are going back to school to become a police officer. And, just discussing what are the ways to do that? How do you get yourself ready? What are the best things to focus on? And to make yourself the best candidate you can be. And here's the deal. Go in and make yourself the best candidate you can be. If you want to be a police officer, first of all, find out what the requirements are. If you go to www.torontopolice.on.ca/careers, you can find out what all of the requirements are to become a police officer with the City of Toronto, with the Toronto Police Service. And you can do the same with any police service you're looking to apply to. We are hiring. So if you are interested, you can reach out to TPS Recruiting. That is an account that's on all the channels. Or you can, again, go to our website and get information, and ultimately reach out and speak to a recruiting officer. So what can you do? What are the tips that I can give you? Well, make yourself the best candidate. Continue your education, whether it's something like learning another language, or what are you looking to get better at? Take language courses, take accounting courses, take whatever you want. Get your degree, because that's a requirement, and make sure you have your full driver's license. You need to have a full G driver's license, from my understanding now. I think it's always been the case, but you definitely driving is a big thing. Keep your driving record clean. Follow the rules. No one's going to hire you if you don't respect the rules that you're going to apply to enforce. So that's a big thing. Stay in shape. That's a huge component. Health is huge. Volunteer in the community that you want to serve. Volunteer in any community, but obviously it makes sense to volunteer in the community that you want to serve to protect. There you go. Things that just triggered me. I thought about George, and based on a comment, and there we are. Okay. Why are snow removal vehicles allowed to have flashing red and blue lights? Well, they're not allowed to have flashing red lights. Blue lights for vehicles that are run by the city. They're on contract for the city, can have the flashing blue lights because that's for snow removal, for snow plows. But otherwise they can't. Red lights are prohibited. It's police, fire, ambulance only. Red and blue combination, the same, yeah. Amber lights are not prohibited. Maybe you're confusing the flashing red with amber. I'm just saying. They can have flashing amber. That's just basically a hazard light way up high. Does Toronto Police Force use tasers? Yes, we do have tasers. It used to be only supervisors and our tactical unit that was allowed to have them. It is, for a while now, being any qualified officer can carry and use a taser. Okay, Ashton Stein says, good morning, my favorite officer. Good morning, my favorite Manitoban. He's coming in long distance. Okay. What is a G2? A G2 is so we have graduated licensing. G2 is the second stage towards getting your full license. G1 is one that is a learner's permit that requires you to be supervised by a qualified G with 4 years driving experience. A G2 is a probationary license. You get it, but you still have conditions, and you still have to graduate by taking another test to get your G. And about that, they have changed the testing requirements for full G licenses. They've reduced some of the duplication to expedite the fact, because we have a whole bunch of people who are in the backlog. So they acknowledge that, and they are trying to streamline it, and they've reduced about 30% of the testing time so more people can get tested and get through as expeditiously. I'm thinking of it. There was a good E word I was going to use, and I don't think it was expeditiously. Quickly, fast, yes. Okay. What is this? What about rubbing out a letter on a plate? Do you mean like modifying your license plate so you can't see a letter, like erasing it? That would be illegal. Modifying your plate is not permitted. Okay. Can you request calibration date on radar for ticks? You radar. So essentially, you can ask for all sorts of things while you are when you go to court. You can question, you can discuss. Calibration dates, they're tested and confirmed to be working. You can certainly ask for things, but whether you get it, I don't know what you're going to get. We test to make sure things are working properly. As operators, we don't calibrate them. We just test them. Manufacturers and technicians calibrate things. We simply test to make sure that they are working correctly. But you can request anything. I don't know if they'll give it to you. Okay. Can you explain Plainview Doctrine and you're a former police officer? So essentially, if when it comes to search, if we see something in plain view, we don't need a warrant to get it. That's simply put. So if I pull you over and I see a bag of white substance on the passenger seat, and I think that it is something that is worthy of investigation, I see it. It's there. I don't need to get a warrant to investigate further. If I see a gun, it's plain view. It's there. I think that's what you're talking about in terms of search specifically. Okay. Did you have I answered any Tint questions? We went deep diving into Tint. Now, the question happened to be asked at this time by the Safe Driver. He is on TikTok, and you should follow him. He is a driving instructor. Not only is he a driving instructor, he instructs driving instructors to be driving instructors. He's the master of driving instructors. Okay. Do you want to be a driving instructor? You should probably talk to him and ask him what it would take to be a driving instructor. He has answers to questions I haven't even thought about. Okay. Crossing in the middle of a block versus jaywalking. So jaywalking is a term that is not a Canadian legal term. It's something commonly used for saying, crossing outside of an intersection. Is it illegal? No. Now, if you're crossing outside of a signalized intersection, you don't have the right of way, and you're taking a risk. Obviously, people who do that are taking a great risk and could be struck. And if you are struck, it's not necessarily the driver's fault if you stepped into traffic. When you are crossing at a signalized intersection, it's far safer because A, it's signalized, and if you then cross against the signal, you are actually breaking the law. So What is the difference between mid-block versus jaywalking? Not a whole lot, except that in some states and provinces, what you normally call jaywalking could be illegal. But in Ontario, it is not specifically. As long as you're within, there are bylaws. If you cross the road within 50 meters of a signalized crosswalk or intersection, you could be ticketed under the bylaw. Yeah. Okay. Do you get tased before you join the force? I volunteered. I asked to be tased, and they said no. It used to be something that when you were qualified as a taser operator, you had to be tased or you were given the option to be tased, and it's no longer the case. Okay. I have like 9 demerit points, and my driver's license got canceled. What do I do? I think you have to wait until you get your demerit points back, or they come off your license. They stay on for 2 years from when they are issued, or if you were issued a specific suspension, they would have a date or an expiry on that suspension. So I don't know what your situation is, but yeah, that's the whole idea of demerit points. And now I assume, based on you being suspended after 9 demerit points, that you are a learner or a young person or the G1, G2. So that suspension kicks in sooner than if you were a fully licensed driver. I think it's 15 for a fully licensed driver and, well, less for a learner. So if you've lost your license, you've done something wrong. Yeah, but you can certainly go and talk to the ministry, find out when you can get it back. I'm assuming you got a suspension as opposed to simply having it revoked. Let's see. Hey, where's everybody calling in from today or watching from today? I'm always curious. I know that Ryan's from Nova Scotia. Kayla is in the Toronto area. Tint is coming in from Montreal. Where are you guys coming? I don't know. I keep saying calling. Why? Because it's like we're on a phone call that I'm only doing the talking on. Okay. Oh, good point. Angela says, hey, we haven't asked people to tap on the screen lately. Yeah, if you don't mind, if you're watching on Instagram or you're watching on TikTok, tap that screen like it owes you money. But if you doing that just tells the algorithm that we're doing something cool here and other people should be watching. But the best thing to do is share it with your friends, and that's for any platform. If you're watching this live and you think there's value here that your friends should see, well, please ask them to come join by sending them an invitation. It's that what is it called? It's that reference, the referral. It means a lot. Okay. We already covered the taser question. How far can a laser radar gun reach? Well, laser is not radar because that's different technology, but a speed measurement device. I don't know what the maximum distance is. I can only see as far as I can see. So if I can identify a vehicle, yeah, these things are amazing. Now, radar is a different story. We use laser for speed measurement for the most part. If I can see it in the scope, it means I can hit it, and it won't give you a lock beyond that. I measure things at 500 meters without problem. But it's light. It's got to be able to send it, and it reflects back, and then measure the time and to determine distance. In any case, it's pretty cool. And yeah, I very often 250, 300 meters is not an issue. I don't go for things longer, so I don't know what the actual maximum is. I'll have to find out because now I've got an itch that needs to be scratched. I want to know what the answer to that question is. I will talk to Glenn. Glenn's the man with the answers when it comes to lasers. He is our laser and speed measuring coordinator. Oh, Steve is from London, Ontario. I was in London not too long ago. Is it a long time ago now? I don't remember. It was a while ago. We have a lot of folks who watch from London. And when I was in London, I was recognized all over the place, which is wild. I got recognized in a short term in London more than I do in Toronto. Just saying. Okay. Why is driving without lights at night not enforced? Well, we enforce all sorts of things. That's an incredibly dangerous thing, driving without lights, and I used to write tickets for it all the time. So I can't say that it's not enforced, but police have to see it happening. So if we see it and they're not doing something, there is probably a really good reason. So if I have a prisoner on board, I'm not going to take a moment to stop you, other than maybe getting your attention and saying, "Hey, turn on your lights." But safety and is paramount for not only you as a driver making sure your stop works, but also making sure that whatever we're doing, we're being safe. So if we have a prisoner, we can't do things like that. Or if we're on a call priority going to someone in need, it's not going to be pull the person over and tell them their lights are off. Even though, yeah, but I can't imagine a police officer seeing it and not pulling them over. Just saying. Okay. Do Toronto police officers need a PAL? No, you don't. You don't have to have a possession acquisition license, which is what you would need to buy your own firearm. While many of us do have it, you don't have to. Some places, like if you work for the border, if you work as a what is it called, a CBSA, Canada Border Services, they, I believe, do have to have a PAL just because they're differently licensed. Okay, and that may have changed. That may be old information. When they first introduced firearms, I think they had to. Okay. Today's the day of saying okay. It's happening a lot today.
I'm sorry.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I can't stop saying it today. What is going on? Oh, Pro Football Craze is listening from Ottawa. Kayla's in Bramalea. See, I just said Toronto, but Bramalea is very specific. Okay. Are police officers allowed to chase in their cars? It's better than walking. Not good to chase when walking. Yeah, there are situations when police will chase. We always have to measure that against a risk to public safety. So it depends on what the offense is. But absolutely, chases do happen. Pursuits, we call them. They do happen. Okay.
Here's
okay. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Can two motorcycles riding together use the reserve lane for two or more people?
Can motorcycle riders use the reserve lane for two or more people? Here is a wonderful thing about highways and motorcycles in the province of Ontario. HOV lanes, well, you can ride in them as a solo operator. You don't need to ride with a friend. Used to be, I think it was 2017 or 18, the law changed. So City of Toronto always allowed, but it's on the sign that shows motorcycles as being permitted. But when it comes to 400 series highways, they were not for the longest time. And again, the law changed. You can now ride solo in an HOV lane. No need to ride tandem or side by side with a friend. Yeah, that's a thing. Oh, Winnipeg. We've got more Winnipeg happening. That's Dave Winter. So London, England, transplanted to Winnipeg. How do you find that change? That's a significant change. But thanks for letting me know where you're coming from. We already covered Steve coming in from London, the other London, the Ontario London. What's your advice if you think you're being followed? I don't think anyone's ever asked me this, but you know what? It's a great question and a reasonable one. If you think you're being followed and you have concerns for your safety, drive to a police station. Or certainly, it's something that most people don't do on a regular basis, but I've thought about it because I watch a lot of movies. Don't take the same route home every day. And if you take some turns that don't make any sense because it's not where you're going and the person continuously follows you, well, if a police station isn't close and you think you're being followed, you could always call police and say, I believe I'm being followed. And then they may say, drive to the police station. But at very least, there might be a police officer close by that might be able to effect a stop and investigate. Obviously, being sure of what's going on. It could be something harmless. Now, if you're taking multiple looping turns, I think at that point, if someone stayed on your tail, they'd really be following you. Okay. Let's see here. We got the Manitoba. Wheels are Rollings in Toronto. Right on. Okay. So I have a K40. It's legal. K40 being a speed measurement device, not in Ontario. And unless you're talking about a K40 CB antenna, I think they used to be called K40s. In any case, if you're referring to a speed measurement device, no, they're illegal in Ontario. You can't have it on your person. And if we suspect that you have it on you, like in your vehicle or on your person, we can stop you. We can search both your vehicle and your person and any occupants looking for it. Once we have it, we can seize it. And then, of course, charge you for the offense of having one or using one. Okay. Mind you, there's also a K40 laser, a little pew-pew action. No, it's like a household desktop laser cutter. It's also a K40 laser. So which K40 were you talking about? What's the darkest tint allowed? For safety, it's going to be 30% light blockage, meaning 70% of the light has to get through. But that doesn't prevent you from being charged for other things. That's allowed in terms of safety and nothing on the front windshield. And of course, you can go darker on the rear windows as long as you have a mirror to the rear. Can a funeral director use the HOV? I don't know if there's an exemption for funeral directors. The question has been asked before if someone carrying a body of a deceased person, can they be in there? And I would say no. Not based on the unalive occupant of the rear, but yeah, I would. I have to defer. I mean, taxis and limo drivers could be. Are you a limo driver? I don't know. I have to look it up. It was asked before. I forgot to look it up. You've brought it up again. I'm going to make a note right now. Hearse. Looking it up later. We'll know for next time. Let's see. Do I have to say where I'm going when pulled over? No, it's usually small talk. You don't have to tell us where you're going, but having a nice conversation, there's nothing wrong with it. If it's related to where are you coming from? Do you have to tell us? No, but usually you want to just have a conversation. Nothing wrong with that. It's usually just getting you talking so we can determine whether or not you've been under the influence. Not talking might make us think that you're under the influence. Behavior is being measured all the time. What is suspicious? What is not? What is was the kid found from the alert? I'm not aware of this. I'm actually really curious because I've been following it. The child was located?
Yes.
Safe and sound?
I can't say that.
Okay. Well, located is good. I was rooting for safe and sound. I will have to go look. But apparently the child's been located. I don't want to read that. Okay. If my G2 expired, do I need to do the exam for renewal? So it's not renewal, it's reapplying. And my understanding is you would have to if it's completely expired. But if it expired March 1st, 2020 or later, it's currently covered under an extension that takes you right until the end of the year. December 31st, 2022 is when the extension due to COVID will end. So if you're currently expired, you're actually, as long as it happened after March 1st, you're actually still covered and still licensed and can still go for your G. Okay. Okay. So apparently, apparently the child was located in good health by Toronto Police. Oh, good job, us. That's good. Anyway, this stuff. The Amber Alerts are something that are scary for me. I'm a dad. I have kids. That's how I'm a dad, and I am thrilled to hear that went well. I always hear from people who are upset that the alarm went off and they were notified and they were woken up. And you know what? When a child's life is in danger, an alarm, small price to pay for someone being located. Okay.
I'm curious.
Yeah.
Can you only activate and remove moderator status when you're live?
I don't think so. Why do you ask?
I'll talk to you about it after.
Okay. Let's see. What is this? What do you mean by your driving record for a newcomer? So if you're new to the country or to the province, a driving record is a history of your driving. So if you've been stopped, if you've been charged, if you've been suspended, there is a history. And it's all attributed to you in the license that you get issued. Who's your favorite magician? That's BK Magic, and he's a chap that I've known for some time who works somewhere that I frequent, and he is a magician. And obviously, you're my favorite magician. Also, I don't see a lot of magic outside of your magic, so he's got some good tricks. My kids are enjoying watching it. Let's see here. Looking for some questions. I see a lot of duplication. Yes, we got that, Angela. Thank you for that. More. Please don't spam the chat. Please don't spam the chat. Did I have any other cue cards that I wanted to touch on? Talked about warm weather, license plates. Boy, I think we covered everything. Are they going to get rid of stickers for license plates? It has not been announced officially. These are all rumor mill leaks or news stories of what might be. There's discussions apparently, but it hasn't happened yet. So you're still responsible for having your validation stickers up to date once the February 28th cutoff comes, which means anyone after March 1st for a validation was extended. Now, you still have to pay. There's no discount. You still have to pay for the last 2 years. But who knows what will happen when the government actually announces officially a program. That is when it'll take place. That is when. Boy, someone really wanted to know about tasers and renewing a G2. Well, we've covered these things all over the place. Have you ever been on a precision motorcycle team? Yes, I was part of the demo team for the motor squad. I was new to the demo team. Like we all do skills training. We all do events that are rodeos and practice events. But the demo team was something that had room, and I had joined up, and yeah, I was doing parades and stuff. It was great. Okay, we've talked about police chases already. If smoke marijuana and drive, do you get guys arrested? So yes, if you are driving under the influence of marijuana or any drug or alcohol, that's impaired driving. That's a criminal offense, and yes, you would get arrested and charged, and your license would be suspended. You'd be sent to court. You'd have to do all those fun things, and upon conviction, there'd be additional consequences. Oh, here's a question from Tint out of Montreal saying, not about traffic, but are street dealers allowed to deal marijuana? No. The only people who can sell marijuana are licensed dealers or sellers that are approved by the government. So street dealers are still performing an illegal activity if they're selling drugs of any kind. Let's see here. We're coming up on that 10 o'clock. Oh, we're actually past that 10 o'clock thing, but I want to try and get a couple more questions. Because, oh yeah. Can I FaceTime someone while a phone is in a holder? That's been a very popular topic since a recent media event or story. And no, you can't. You cannot FaceTime with somebody regardless of whether or not the phone is mounted. That is not permitted. You can only use your phone in phone mode. You can only have an audio connection. And if you are looking at anything other than the phone mode or your GPS screen, that is prohibited. Sorry. Okay, we have. Why does Ontario have two plates instead of one? You know what? When the Ford government came in, they discussed the concept of losing the front plate. They said we could save half the money because that makes sense. Less plates, less money in terms of manufacturing. The deal is that this was they consulted. I remember reading an article where they consulted the Ontario Chiefs of Police Association. Discussion was had, and they determined that in the interest of public safety, being able to see a vehicle and identify it from both sides is a benefit. And it actually relates, as my best example, being Amber Alerts. When we're looking for somebody, we want to be able to identify that vehicle. Otherwise, it would require us to stop and investigate every vehicle that matched a description, whereas we would be able to, every vehicle that didn't have our front plate, we wouldn't be able to rule them out as quickly. So it is I think it's a great thing. Allows the public and the police to identify vehicles. Also, automatic plate readers work better when you have two plates in one. Get them coming and going. And what's the fine for no front plate? $110 for not displaying both. So you are required to. It cannot be in the windshield of the behind the windshield of a vehicle. It has to be on the frontmost part of the vehicle. Yeah, it's a thing. Are you related to Ben Shapiro? Not that I'm aware of. I used to say absolutely not, but I'll just say not that I'm aware of because anything's possible, but it's highly unlikely. I'm 6'5". He is not. I have a deep voice. He does not. He has wonderful hair. I do not. But regardless of what you may think of him, he is likely not a relative, although it's possible. I just likely not, but possible. Anyway. How do you feel about convoys? I'm not going political. As a police officer, I talk about the laws that I'm familiar with, the area that I am trained in, but I don't get into politics because I'm not trained in that. We got more G2 questions. I think we already covered it from the same person, but duplication is everywhere. I want to get a good one we haven't talked about.
Someone said you have a better beard.
Does he have a beard? I didn't know that he had a beard. I'm not up on Ben Shapiro's fashion stuff, but thank you. I'm quite happy with my beard, my winter beard. I was goatee before. Anyway, I'm changing it up. Orange versus white speed limit signs. Which is right? Well, orange or yellow are cautionary signs. They are suggesting what you should be doing for safety based on where you are going, whether it be construction zone or curves and whatnot. They're suggestions. Are they enforceable? No, they're not. White signs are enforceable in the province of Ontario. And if we have construction zones that need enforcement, they will erect a white sign. Croissant, what's going on? Coming from Twitch. Good to see you. Akela's got to take off because they got a meeting at 10 o'clock, which is already passed. Then they were late for their meeting, I think. Tintotosi's taking off. I think we're taking off too because we're 5 minutes into the next hour and we have got stuff to do. But it has been a blast. It always is. We'll be back tomorrow for the last live for a week. Maybe I should title it Last Live for a Week. That could happen. Yeah. Just looking to see if there's anything that's mind-bending. Is there a really good one? No, lots of questions about stickers. We've covered it several times. How about this?
What's your favorite kind of bike?
My favorite kind of motorcycle? I have a Honda. I like the Harleys. I like them all. Bikes are cool. So I like them all. I don't have a favorite anymore. I do want to own a police Harley at some point. What you can do on those bikes is amazing. Slow speed maneuverability, taking on those rodeos. Go Google. If you have time, check out YouTube Police Motorcycle Rodeo. Check out the things you can do on a Harley. Pretty awesome. And just to close off the day, when is police speeding legal? So police speeding we are exempt. We are permitted to exceed the speed limit during the lawful execution of our duties. So if we're doing something for a legitimate reason, then we are allowed to exceed the speed limit. Now, that doesn't mean going for coffee and donuts. It means we're going to enforce the Highway Traffic Act. We got to catch up to a speeder. We're going to a priority call to save someone, help someone, prevent someone from being hurt, going to a collision scene, whatever the case may be. You're allowed to exceed the speed limit for that purpose. Now, police, fire, and ambulance are all in that boat, but they are more specific terms. They can only do it when they're going to a call, transporting a patient. So you got my terminology all mixed up. But police can do it for other reasons. There's a wider authority. In any case, that's the answer to your question. We are signing off. It has been a blast, and we'll be blasting again tomorrow. Always fun. And finally, Croissant, have a great day.